What is going on, you guys? This is the Cubone here. I am, of course, wearing teal and black like a Duval cat because I am here to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. I am joined by my co-host, Trico. Trico, how are you doing today? Trico, have you seen Salandon? Hey, you little turd. Leave that candy alone. That's for the children. You heard me. Off the bowl. Now, back on topic. In today's video, we're going to be recapping the Week 5 matchup between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Buffalo Bills over in London this morning. And believe it or not, the Jacksonville Jaguars found a way to come away with a win by a score of 25-20. Now, right away, I want to say that Buffalo, I felt like, had opportunities to win this game. Unfortunately, due to things like penalties, injuries, drop passes, they kept getting in their own way from being able to come away with a win. So Jacksonville got very lucky. The score for this game was at 11-7 for a very long time until the fourth quarter. So it was still up for grabs for Buffalo, but Jacksonville nonetheless finished strong with a good performance by the offense. Let's go ahead and go over the statistics for said offense. Trevor Lawrence, 25 completions on 37 attempts, 315 yards, and 1 touchdown. He also had 7 carries for 31 yards. Another very good, strong performance by Trevor Lawrence, but there were a couple fumbles to his credit. 2 or 3. I can't remember off topic. Trico, how many was it? Thank you. That's too many. But regardless of those fumbles, he was still very effective, very efficient, was calm under pressure. I believe the Jaguars were 10 of 18 on third down conversions, which when you compare that to their previous games, their third down percentage conversion was putrid going into this game. So seeing that, a little bit above 50% is much better than it has been in weeks past. Travis Etienne had a huge day on the ground, 26 carries for 136 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he also had 4 catches for 48 yards. So that's over, 180 yards of offense on 30 touches? You'll take that. And what I like the most about that statistic for Travis Etienne is that there were times in this game where Jacksonville was struggling to run the football, but give credit to Press Taylor. He does not abandon the running game. He continued to run the football and was rewarded because Travis Etienne in the fourth quarter found the end zone on 2 separate occasions. So good day for Etienne on the ground. Calvin Ridley, he had a very clutch day today. So many third down passes went to Calvin Ridley for conversions. He had 7 catches on the day for 122 yards. And he also had 2 carries for 14 yards that were like end arounds at the start of the game. So yes, Calvin Ridley, another great performance by him. Christian Kirk also had a very solid day as well as Evan Ingram. They continue to be productive. The 1 touchdown went to Zay Jones. Unfortunately, he did leave the game with, I believe, a knee injury, the same injury that he had been dealing with for the last couple weeks. So hopefully that's not too serious and then he'll come back. One more thing I do want to point out about the offense, I don't have that written on my whiteboard, is that Cam Robinson, the left tackle that was suspended for the first 4 games of the season, didn't make his first start for the Jaguars today. And they did put him at left tackle. They put Walker Little at left guard. And the offense looked so much better with him in the game. It really did. Now, Walker Little did eventually have to leave the game, though, due to an injury early in the game. And Luke Fortner, the center, did struggle a lot in this game. He had a snap that went over Trevor Lawrence's head. He had a couple blocks that really he didn't block the pass rusher or run defender at all. He's been struggling. He's been really struggling. So hopefully Walker Little's injury is not too serious so that ideally I think Tyler Shatley should probably replace Luke Fortner. However, if Walker Little is not able to go, you got to keep Luke Fortner in there at center and then put Tyler Shatley at left guard. And now let's go ahead and shift focus to this defense, because Jacksonville's defense was the real MVP of this game. And I know, Trico, we can't give the Player of the Week award to a whole unit, but the defense, man, did they show up in this game. Darius Williams, once again, got an interception. The defense allowed a whopping 29 yards rushing. That's it, 29 yards. Now, what I will say, though, is that 29 yards rushing is kind of a misleading stat in the sense that Buffalo didn't really try to run the football very much in this game. They were more or less pass heavy with Josh Allen, and the Buffalo Bills didn't have much time of possession in this game. I believe Jaguars had almost 40 minutes of time of possession, which honestly, if you're going to beat a high octane offense like the Buffalo Bills, one way to do it is by winning the time of possession, which is what Jacksonville did in this game. So even still, with Buffalo's lack of attempts running the football, anytime they did try to run the football, they shut it down. Make no mistake. That's a good sign for a Jaguars fan, because next week they're going to have to go up against the Indianapolis Colts, who is a team that really loves to run the football. So let's go ahead and move on now to the Buffalo Bills. A couple players I wanted to highlight. Let's start off with their quarterback, Josh Allen. He had 27 completions on 40 attempts for 359 yards. He had 3 total touchdowns on the day, and excuse me, as I mentioned earlier, he threw an interception to one Darius Williams. Overall, solid performance by him. I think the statistics, while yes, they're really good, I feel like it could have been a lot better. I mentioned it earlier in the video. There were a lot of drop passes by the Bills receivers in this game, so that number could have been a lot higher, and the Bills easily could have had more points on the board, but you can't really knock Josh Allen for all that stuff. He played his butt off in this game. He did his absolute best. Moving on, Stephon Diggs, 8 catches, 121 yards, and 1 touchdown. He showed why in this game he's one of the best receivers in the league. Always very good, difficult to cover. Excuse me. And not only that, Gabe Davis also had 6 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown as well. So even if they tried to cover Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis was able to carve him up as well. That's a great wide receiver duo that they have in Buffalo. And hopefully we won't have to deal with them ever again for the rest of this season. Let's move on now to the last player I wanted to talk about, and a guy that really I felt like stepped up big time for the Bills defense, because there was a lot of injuries to that unit. You know, Von Miller was on a pitch count. Tre'Davious White wasn't available. Their other starting corner wasn't available. Matt Milano went down with a potentially season-ending injury in this game. So AJ Epinesa, I will never forget this guy's name ever again, because he had to fill in for Gregory Rousseau. That was another guy who was not available for this game. So AJ Epinesa. This guy was disruptive the entire game. He had 2 sacks, he had a forced fumble, a couple batted passes at the line of scrimmage. To me, this really shows the amount of depth that the Buffalo Bills really had as a team as a whole, because even despite all the injuries to the whole defense, they still had playmakers show up, backup players showing up, making plays like an AJ Epinesa. And now let's go ahead and get to the player of the game for this week. Trico, who was the player of the game? Thank you much, Trico. All right, let's go ahead and now talk about the AFC South as a whole. First up, the Indianapolis Colts faced off against the Tennessee Titans. Close fought game. I believe the final score was 23-16. Anthony Richardson, though, did get injured in the game, but Gardner Minshew was able to come in, really keep the offense in motion, still run the football effectively, and they were able to come away with the win. So now they improved their record to 3-2, whereas Tennessee now falls to 2-3. Jacksonville, as I just mentioned, they just beat the Buffalo Bills, so they're now 3-2. And the Houston Texans, oh man, poor Houston. CJ Stroud led that team to a game-winning touchdown drive to go up 19-18 over the Atlanta Falcons, only for the Falcons to kick a game-winning field goal as time expired. I mean, on one hand, yeah, as a Jags fan, I'm happy they lost, but at the same time, as someone who just loves watching football, it was nice to see that touchdown drive by CJ Stroud. So now the Houston Texans fall to 2-3. Now, in terms of who they play against each other next week, Jacksonville and Indianapolis will battle it out in Week 6 for sole first place in the division. Meanwhile, Houston will go over to New Orleans, and Tennessee will face off against the Baltimore Ravens. And well, folks, that's the end of today's video. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys next time. Take care. Slant it, get out of that bowl!